What happened to the state of Colorado? I mean, we used to refer to this state as a swing state, as something that was super interesting, got national media coverage. You saw campaigns go there and presidential candidates have big rallies and say, I want your vote, I need your vote. Not really the case anymore. It has trended extremely to the left as of late, and it used to be a state that was battled over, and I can prove it to you if we go to the historics right here. As you can see, it went red twice, was Democratic, relatively kind of close. You had Obama 2008, spike up the margins, but it was sort of close in here, right? And then balloons big time. If we go back to 2000, there's also some context around this. Bush won it by 8.35% over Gore, but Ralph Nader, the Green Party and left-leaning third-party candidate, soaked up 5% of the vote in Colorado and took away some votes for sure from Al Gore in 2000. And that's actually going to be a video idea at some point, so stay tuned for that if Nader ruined the 2000 election for Gore and handed it to Bush. But back down to 4.67%. Obama, super popular spike in 2008, then goes down in popularity a little bit. Romney and Obama fight over the state, goes for 3.9%. Trump comes around, again, close. But what's very important to the 2016 election in Colorado, let's just go right there. Again, we might have had a similar case where Gary Johnson, a right-leaning libertarian candidate, could have stole votes from Trump. Who knows? Maybe this is a 2-3 point win for Clinton if it isn't for Gary Johnson's interference. Let's go back to our map. So I think it's pretty close there in 2016 and 2000, closer than these margin indicators show. Then in 2020, what exactly happened? 9-point jump for the Democrats, pretty insane. 2024 dips down a little bit, as did really all states. They trended to the right, but still a very comfortable margin. I mean, this looks more like Oregon than a Pennsylvania or Michigan, a North Carolina, one of the quintessential swing states. And that is what Colorado used to be, people. Used to be a swing state. I have this map right here of swing states of the past. 2012, as you can see, Nevada, Colorado, Iowa, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Virginia, North Carolina, Florida, New Hampshire. That was a mouthful. But these were states that were considered swing states, and Colorado was for a very long time. As you can see, some of the usual suspects still around. The blue wall right here in North Carolina. But Colorado was one of these. And then when you were seeing maps nowadays in the 2024 election, this is what everyone's map looked like. These were the states that were in question. No surprises happened in this map. You didn't see Colorado go red. You didn't see New Mexico go red. You didn't see Texas go blue. No surprises happened. It was all these 7 gray swing states that switched. And Colorado was an afterthought. It's going left. It's going liberal. Not a lot of campaigns there. Not a lot of big turnout for rallies there. Colorado was safely blue, folks. And it used to not be that way. Absolutely not. So what started this, right? And just to give some context, as we look at our historical map and the big jump here in the last couple of presidential elections, it hasn't just been with presidential elections. Look in 2014, very close governor's race in Colorado. By the way, Colorado has 2 Democratic senators, for whatever that's worth. The whole state is just really much trending blue. Anyway, back to my point. About a 3.5 point margin victory here for the former governor, the Democratic Representative John Hickenlooper. We fast forward to 2018. Pay attention to this margin. Jared Polis, who's now the current governor, wins by almost 11%. Big time jump in 2018. Something happened in Colorado. If you didn't believe that, look at it here. 19, pushing 20% victory for Jared Polis in the governor's race in 2022. So what has happened to the state of Colorado that it's become from interesting to almost boring? Like, hey, this is just going to go to the left, and that's great, and that's how it's going to go. We're not going to really talk about it anymore. We want to talk about Colorado, folks, but we are just going to have to talk about it being a super left-leaning state and not the swing state that it used to be. But I digress. Let's go back to the point. 2004 presidential election, the last time that Colorado went red. George W. Bush over John Kerry. Now, I can give a visual representation of 2000, which was my point from earlier. As you can see here, Bush beats Gore by about 8.5%, but Ralph Nader takes up 5.25%. This is probably a 4 to 6 point win for Bush, normal circumstances, right? Let's go to 2004, though. He wins outright, and about the margin that I predicted would be in 2000, right? About a 4.5 point margin. Good win for Bush there, right? It makes a lot of sense. He was very popular with the Hispanics and kind of that western side of the country. He also pulled in Nevada, which a Republican has not won until Trump won in 2024. So there's the 2004 election. Let's go to the 2008 election and the slaughtering that was by Obama over McCain. Now we're seeing 8.5% victory, big time win, 8.9 actually, percent victory there for Obama over McCain. What exactly happened? If we look at the counties here, we can scroll down very quickly and see that we had 7 counties flip from Republican to Democrat. That has a lot to do with it, folks. that is a big time swing there for Obama. If we start to look at some of the big counties, Jefferson County, Denver County, getting a huge percentage of the votes here, 53.6, not huge there, 75.45% in Denver. Let's see what the change was in 2004. Scroll down. Okay, yep, up about 6% in Denver, and Jefferson actually went red in 2004. So that's probably the reason that Bush won it, and then it went to Obama in 2008. That is a big swing in Jefferson. That's like 4 or 5 point swing and a huge amount of votes outstanding. Let's look at 2012. Again, still close. It was still considered a swing state. Obama pulled back a little bit in his support and his results. Let's go to the bi-county. We can see here that there was actually a county that flipped from Republican to Democrat, Chaffee County. Let's see where that is. That is a very small amount of notes, or a very small amount of votes, not notes. Republican to Democrat. Okay. So yeah, Obama flipped that county, but actually did a little bit worse than he previously did. So that's pretty interesting. Denver and Jefferson County went down a little bit in support as well, and that is kind of a telltale sign. Now let's go to 2016 with Trump, and let's see just what is going on there. Okay, so again, the Gary Johnson influence, I would call. I think Trump probably loses his state by about 2 to 3 points if Johnson's not running. But the bi-county, let's see if Trump did any better or any worse. Flipped 5 counties to the right. Okay, and still lost by a little bit more than Romney, but as you can see, it's probably about 2 to 3 points without the Johnson influence there. And as we can see, Jefferson down a little bit in Democratic support, and Denver down a little bit in Democratic support, it looks like. And this doesn't add up to 100, folks, because that's, again, Gary Johnson taking some of that vote. Extremely, extremely interesting. 2020, let's go to here. This is what I would consider a huge change, because I think that in 2016, that was really a 2 to 3 point race between Hillary Clinton and Trump, and now it's ballooned to almost 14 points. I think this was not a change of 4.9 to 13.5. I think it was more a change of like 2.5 to 13.5. I think it was a massive shift and difference. As you can see, voter turnout through the roof, increase there. And let's go down. Did we see any counties flipping? We had 3 counties flip from Republican to Democrat. And we had a county flip from Democrat to Republican. That's interesting. Colorado had it all in 2020. Let's look at something here that I'm starting to see a trend in. Look at the amount of votes. Okay, Jefferson and Denver County, 393,000 votes for Denver. Jefferson, 377,000. Just a monster amount in a state where, what do we have, 3.256 million votes cast total. I mean, that's just a monster, significant percentage of the total votes in the state. 393,000 and 377,000. Look at the percentages. 80%, 58%. Jefferson County used to go red, folks, in 2004. Let's go to 2024 and see what happened there. I'm assuming we're probably going to see some counties flip red. Okay, 1 county flip red. Jefferson County, 361,000 total votes. Denver, 363,000. Okay, super interesting. So Kamala lost a little bit of the percentage of the vote in Denver and Jefferson County. But what I find interesting is the amount of votes cast. So let's go to 2004. Wow. Okay. This might be the story. So when Colorado is red and red-leaning and can be a swing state and go to the right, you're seeing 238,000 votes cast in Denver, 271,000 votes cast in Jefferson County. Let's keep monitoring this number. 271, big increase in votes, goes heavily Democratic. Big increase in votes again, goes heavily Democratic. Okay, 271, 295, 302, huge increase again, 30,000 votes increased. Jefferson, over 300,000 votes now, huge increase in votes. 2016, spike again, 331,000, 328,000. I mean, these two are growing in votes, Denver and Jefferson County driving it. And again, big percentages liberal. Let's go 2020. Whoa! I didn't notice this when we were going through. 393,829, 377,000. So there it is, folks. 60,000 more votes cast blue, or cast in general. And you had 244.5 to 313. Just a monster amount of votes increasing in Denver County. How about Jefferson? We had 218,396 Democratic. Just 160,000. So I think we might have just found the trend right here. When Denver and Jefferson County, liberal, blue, whatever you want to say, left-leaning counties and cities show up to vote in mass numbers, that's going to drive elections in Colorado. These two cities used to just not really vote. I mean, 238,000 to 220,000. I mean, that is not exactly, but pushing towards like nearly doubling in vote. 377,000 in 2020. 271,000. I mean, 106,000 more votes. That's insane. 2024. Very interesting. Okay, so Kamala loses a couple of points of steam, and Denver loses 30,000 total votes. Not surprising. Seems like there's a correlation. Jefferson, 361,716, loses 16,000 votes. Okay, I think we've cracked it. I think Denver and Jefferson County, being these big Democratic strongholds, their voter increase brings Colorado to become no longer a swing state. Super, super interesting. Let's look at some exit poll data and look at what is going on in Colorado. So here is 2012 exit polls. They're a little bit hard to find, but we can find something here. In 2012, the Hispanic vote was an important building block for Obama's win in several key states. In Colorado, Obama carried the Latino vote by a wide margin, 75% to 23%. Okay, so monster amount there for Obama. What we've seen in a lot of my swing state breakdowns, and I just broke down Florida. That video will be linked in the description about why that's no longer a swing state. What we've seen is that the Latino vote has went more to the right. Okay, I am curious to see where the Latino vote is more recently, right? So let's go to 2020 and look at the exit polls. As you can see, when we were going through a lot of our exit polls and other videos, male was right, to the right, and female was to the left. So super, super interesting here. Okay. 57% white, 58% Hispanic. So it went down a little bit from Obama, but this is off the charts. I mean, you don't see this a lot, folks. The white vote being 57% of the liberal vote. That is, or going 57% of the time to the left. That is a like statistical anomaly. What is driving that? I need to see this. So the more educated definitely is driving some of that. White college graduates are 38% of the respondents in Colorado, big number, and 67% of them are going to the left. 69% for women and 59% for white women non-college, 65% for men. So the whites that are college educated in Colorado, it seems like there's just more of them, and they're moving to Denver and Jefferson County and putting up big amounts. Wow, this is nuts. And if we look at what mattered in Colorado, just take a look at this super interesting find. The economy was the biggest issue, 35%. Immigration, 20%, right? That was very standard, again, with all the breakdowns I've done. Most states, it was economy and immigration. And those Trump pulled very well, or the Republicans pulled very well, in saying they are more trusted on that or would do a better job at that, right? Climate, abortion, healthcare, gun policy, 10, 9, 9, 28%, 33% to 55% here. Took up a big chunk too. And if you want to look at an actual swing state like Pennsylvania, I have Pennsylvania selected here, look at how these numbers differ. Economy, 43%. Climate, healthcare, and abortion just adding up to 26%. Whereas here you have climate, abortion, healthcare adding up to 28%, and then gun policy in there 33% on its own. So, wow. The people in Colorado cared a lot more about liberal policies. Again, economy was the biggest issue, but they cared more about liberal policies and showed up and voted like it. This is fascinating to see, and just to prove it to you, in 2012 we used to see Colorado be a legitimate swing state, 2.5%, but now the white vote has abandoned the Republican Party. It looks like, again, off that 2012 exit poll and the 2020 exit poll we're looking at now, the Hispanic vote has trended down a little bit more to the right, and that's kind of happening across the country. But the white vote in Denver, or not in Denver, in Colorado, is definitely saving the Democratic Party and allowing it to expand and make Colorado a solid blue state. This is just super interesting, folks. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you disagree or agree on why Colorado is becoming more blue. Let me know what kind of videos you guys want to see in the future. Thanks for watching.